It's been over 2 months now since Algorand was first attacked by the SEC when the agency filed a lawsuit against a centralized exchange called Bittrex, and a month later, as we all know, against Binance. Now, in both of these occasions, Algorand was identified as a security, but not outright sued by the SEC themselves, which actually is a very important distinction we'll come back to in just a moment. But guys, even so, just being hinted as a possible security right now is basically every cryptocurrency's kryptonite, and in the case of poor Algorand, ultimately it's led to some massive panic sell-offs, resulting in an all-time low actually of 9.5 cents since recovering to about 12 cents as of today's date. Now, for very keen Algorand investors, also, avid supporters, but most importantly, the Algo fam community themselves, we've all pretty much been wondering if investing in Algorand anytime soon is the smart move to make. After all, if a lawsuit was officially announced, we'd definitely see the price tank and undoubtedly be suppressed for years to come, point in case XRP. So I guess let's actually answer that question once and for all. Is now actually a good time to start buying more Algo? And if not, when? So the important distinction I want to reiterate here is that Algorand is definitely not an official security or has actually been sued to challenge that status. The only thing kind of tying Algorand to the title of a security right now is that it was mentioned in the lawsuits against Bittrex and Binance as a so-called unregistered security that both exchanges were offering their customers, obviously amongst not just Algorand, but many other altcoins. Now, what I believe the real fear here is that people are afraid that Algorand will suffer a similar fate to that of XRP, as the SEC, but kind of more specifically here, Gary Gensler, seem to be suing businesses left, right, and damn center right now. It definitely is easy to believe that because Algorand is one of the very few cryptocurrencies that were name dropped in 2 separate lawsuits, that the SEC might be cracking down on them soon too. But what I would go ahead and remind people of is that Algorand is fundamentally one of the very best cryptocurrencies this industry has ever seen. Yes, that's obviously a very huge statement to make, but I definitely strongly believe it. Now, if you do pair the powerful technology like the extremely fair consensus architecture, the instant finality, quantum security, and layer 1 dApp capabilities with its valuable connections, carbon negative status, and, in my opinion, most importantly, how its founder is one of the greatest minds cryptography has ever known, period. And yeah, you can definitely start to see the bigger picture here. And if I'm gonna be completely candid for a second, wouldn't it make perfect sense from a kind of control standpoint to shun select projects that were industry leaders in the hopes that a similar project and the audience of those sort of projects would kind of think to themselves, hang on for a second, if that project's being sued, these other projects are screwed too, right? Because that does make perfect sense to me if you just think about it. Now, if Algorand was actually ever sued, I can guarantee that many other layer 1 networks in the ecosystem will literally be crapping themselves because they also know they're essentially in the same boat, and the same can go with other networks mentioned in more than just one of those recent SEC lawsuits, Polygon and Cardano for a prime example. But guys, look, ultimately, just remember, all the SEC have done thus far is just simply name drop Algorand twice. Literally no more and no less than that, okay? So any decision we make from here on is going to be a complete guess until we see, in my opinion, some kind of framework in the next year or so. Obviously, that means we're gonna have to, at least right now, play it by ear. And I want to just say, most people aren't in crypto because they want to kind of think about the long-term factors or have any type of vision, conviction, goals, independent analysis, and just so on, meaning playing it by ear is probably the best point and bet. Anyway, rest assured, no one kind of wants to hold their bag any longer than what they actually have to, and it does make total sense because you can just ask any of the XRP holders. Now, why should I, as an investor, have to wait 3 to 5 years and then miss out on potentially life-changing wealth in the 2025 bull run because I have a large portion of my money locked away in a cryptocurrency that isn't going to get to the moon? I just think that makes perfect sense, right? I think you can all agree with me. And to be honest, I think that it actually answers a majority of the question itself, because we really don't know what Gary Gensler, or the SEC for that matter, are gonna do next. And to be completely honest with you, I do feel like there's a larger game being played here than just simply with Algorand or any of the individual cryptocurrencies mentioned in any of those lawsuits, but that's just a whole new video for itself. I think, honestly, if you are someone who is a passive investor who doesn't have all that much time to invest in research, or you're just simply a degen, or just someone who couldn't tell me a single damn thing about Algorand, then yeah, you're probably better off being on the safe side here and just staying away for now. I would say that if this actually is you, an optimal time to revisit this topic would be when that regulatory framework is actually in near sight, because I would almost bet if Gary's hammer ever came crashing down on Algorand or any of your favorite cryptocurrencies mentioned in these lawsuits, you would 100% be regretting you bought in or held onto any of your tokens. Now, of course, on the contrary, because there's always two sides to this, if you are someone like myself who pretty much already holds a large sum of Algo tokens and is completely committed to the longevity of the project, then you might be better off holding those tokens, especially if you're at a large paper loss right now. I know I definitely am. But of course, guys, there's never a one-size-fits-all strategy for this, and it all just does depend at the end of the day on your conviction in Algorand. We also have those who are on the other side of things, extremely dedicated supporters, aka the Algo fam themselves, who have the highest levels of conviction and are probably just in bed with the project, just to be completely honest, and will still want to be buying right now. And without kind of providing you financial advice, I would say, considering we saw its all-time low only 3 weeks ago, and remember guys, Algorand is like a project that's been out since 2019, then yeah, at the current price of 12 cents, which definitely beat most of 2019-2020's price, it's definitely a great time to dollar cost average. But I guess overall though, at the end of the day, I would just tell people to expect the worst, but hope for the best in the near future for Algorand, because that way you'll be prepared for whatever is thrown your way next. Again, if you kind of ask me in this situation as someone who has conviction in Algorand, and I've honestly been dollar cost averaging in this project for a while now, it has about $6,500 tied up in the network itself. I personally, again, am sticking it out, but holding off on actually buying them or dollar cost averaging for now. And I just want to say, for all those people out there thinking that, things are going to change if Gary Gensler quits or is fired, I wouldn't hold your breath. I really do firmly believe that he is being told what to do by a higher power. And if you're asking how I know, well, take some of his previous discussions on Algorand and 𝗡cie𝗿𝗩𝗣𝗡, of course, Algorand's founder, and you'll see that Gary has actually always been very fond of the both. Plus, I also do feel like the insane timing of all this chaos couldn't come at a more convenient time for the US government, as of course the FedNow service is launching this month, yes, in July, and the crypto crackdown via Choke Point 2.0 has been underway for months now. Just like many of us made the mistake with Quant Network and the writing was on the walls, guys, I'm not making that same mistake again. Once is a coincidence, twice maybe, 3 times, hell no. So at the end of the day, guys, with the hypothesis kind of out the way and thrown in the public, I am of the firm belief that it's integral for investors of any caliber to treat this game as professionally as possible. And that means deviating from our long-term strategy to make the best out of a bad situation. Because I actually see comments all the time telling me that because I made a bullish video on Algorand 3 months ago, that I can't change my investment thesis. And I think this comes down to the whole, diamond hands misconception crypto has been throwing around the last X amount of years, right? Because if you make a really good video about a project, you might still think the same, but your investment thesis might change. It's 2 different things, right? So let me say this once and for all. Never, ever hold your tokens forever, as a lot of the crypto bros like to convince you to. In my opinion, of course, this is all not financial. You gotta take profits and be flexible, especially ever more in crypto. And in the case with, of course, Algorand, we absolutely have to play this by ear. Anyone that kind of tells you to hold your tokens and ignore warning signs is using you for their exit liquidity. Trust me, it happens more than you might actually think. Now, I'll of course let all of you know when I begin looking at Algorand again for a possible buy levels, so on and so forth. Again, we're at a fantastic price, but I don't want to just risk buying Algorand right now when the price could definitely go a lot lower or just be stuck holding even more money. Again, safe bets are the best thing. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you have, if this has helped you in some capacity, it would mean a lot to me if you could like the video, but also subscribe with the bell on to see more of my daily content. Guys, take good care of yourselves. Talk to you all soon. Bye.